And we are live. Thanks for joining me. I'm Spencer, aka Spence Painting. Today I'm going to be painting up one of these Sisters of Battle Celestians. I painted one up yesterday, so if you missed that, you might have seen it on my Instagram, but if not, this is what we're going to be aiming for. I'm going to be streaming for about an hour today, so I don't know whether we'll get all the way to this stage, but it's quite a quick process, so yeah, we should get quite far through it. We should at least be able to get most of the metals done, so you'll be able to see how I do those, how I do the robes, the gold, yeah, all the important bits. So yeah, so far I've got the Celestian off of its base. The shield is also separate because when the shields are on these, other than that first one where it's out to the side, all the shields obscure quite a lot of the details, like on the skirt, so it's really hard to get to them. So I figured, well, yeah, probably best to paint that off of it and then attach it later. And then we've got the base as well, which we'll be painting as we go. And I've just primed them all in Vallejo Model Air Black. Yeah, Vallejo Model Air Black. It's not technically a primer, but it sticks on pretty well, and yeah, it's got a nice coverage. Really easy to go through the airbrush as well, so it's good paint to use. So yeah, let's get to it. What we are going to be doing first is using jet exhaust, Vallejo metal colour jet exhaust. This is going to be our base coat over the whole model and the shield, not the base though. And then we're going to then do a zenithal highlight with Vallejo metal colour duraluminum. So you can see that the jet exhaust is like a darker metallic and the duraluminum is a light metallic. We've got our first bot as well. Look at that. How do we get rid of those? Interesting. Oh, there we go. Right. Delete them. Cool. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. Start with the jet exhaust and then duraluminum over the top. Oh, thanks, mate. I've got Milky in the chat. Oh yeah, we've got Strife in the chat, not Milky. Yeah, let's get to it. So I'm going to put those to one side and get my Ghetto airbrush booth, which is just a piece of cardboard. Looking very good. And I'm just going to be using my cheap airbrush. It's the Chinese airbrush that comes with the kit, which should be in my about section below. I use this probably more than a more expensive airbrush. I've got a Evolution, I think it is. Yeah, not the Infinity, the Evolution, which is great for like the fine detail work. But this is I find just better for just doing like the big quick work. Yeah, it's just an absolute workhorse of an airbrush really. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and shake up this jet exhaust. Sorry, let me just mute the I'm going to mute the mic. And I'm back. Yeah, let's get a few drops of this in here. You can just pour this in straight out of the bottle. It's really good. All the Vallejo metal colour paints are really nice to use, and technically should be wearing a mask, but I can't really talk and wear a mask at the same time. So yeah, that's out the window. Here's the model, and I'm just going to give it an all over coat with this. You can kind of see like what I'm doing is I'm trying to get it on the camera so you can see I'm like pulsing on the trigger like that. And what that does is as the air comes out, obviously you press down to let the air out, that then dries the paint on the model in between the pulses where you pull it back. So you obviously get the air, you get the paint onto the model, and as you pull it back, rather, as you let the trigger go back to the front and just let the air keep coming out, that dries the paint that's already on the model, so you don't end up with too much sort of like spiderweb effect. It just reduces the chance of that. Okay, I think that looks like a nice solid shiny coat. Put that to one side. And onto the shield. Same thing. There's not too much airbrushing with this scheme. It's just the first two stages where we use these metallics, and then the final stage where we use an ink to go over and give it like the underglow effect. So that's it for the jet exhaust. I'm just going to use airbrush cleaner. Just put a squirt in there, and then I've got my trusty Citadel shade brush, medium shade brush. Oop, hitting the lamps, and give it a swirl around in there, and blow it out into the cleaning brush pot. There we go. So the next colour is duraluminum. This is like a brighter metallic. What we're going to be doing is spraying this from above onto the model, so it's going to create a gradient where you'll have the darker metallics all over, and then like a highlight of the lighter metallics from above. So it just gives it like a kind of like a natural look of light hitting it from above. A few drops of that. So yeah, so we're just going to hold the model sort of like this and spray from above like this. Just move the model around a little bit so we catch a few different areas. And again, doing the same sort of motion, with the pulsing. And maybe just give it a little spray directly at the face, just to give that a highlight. It's kind of subtle. You see it darker underneath and even brighter above. We're going to dull all this down with Null Oil in a second, so it doesn't matter that it's mega shiny at the moment. So a bit difficult with the shield obviously being off, getting the right direction from above, but I'm pretty sure it's just slightly off at an angle like so. So there we go. That's that. Cool. So we'll put those to the side. Get the airbrush cleaner out again. A few drops. Yeah, swizzle around with that. And get the spray out. There we go. And then the last thing I usually do, like if it's going to be a little while between me using colours, is I just get a piece of kitchen roll that I've just like cut strips out of and folded over. Put a dab of the cleaner on there and just wipe that around inside. It just helps get rid of any like chunks of paint that are left inside. If you can hear some weird sounds in the background, that's Florence, my pug. She's currently chowing down on a big chew. Keeps her occupied whilst I'm streaming. Otherwise I think she'd be trying to get on the stream with me. There we go, so that's that cleaned. I'll just disconnect the air from that for now and put all that to one side. Get the wet palette out, put that to one side. So yeah, I said that the next step is to use Null Oil pretty much all over, and we're going to use it as a wash. So Games Workshop Citadel Null Oil. I'm pretty sure every mini painter knows this paint. But yeah, we're going to use it as a wash, but not just slap it on all over the place. We're going to sort of be a bit selective with it. So, like for example, on the shoulder pads, where you've got like the top sections here, we're we're going to pull the wash away from those down into the bottom sections so that we can create like shiny parts at the top. Same on the helmet, like we'll pull them down from the corners of the like the dome, I suppose, of the helmet there. It just helps to create like an even more yeah, normally is grimdark. It just helps to create like an even stronger highlight effect from the metallics. So just get that on here. And it's like liquid magic normal. I love it. Have to try and remember to keep the camera, or rather the mini on the camera whilst painting. It's a new skill. I'll learn. Also need to look into getting some stream music, I think, because otherwise I'm gonna have to be talking for like an hour straight, and as much as I like to talk, I think that's a bit much. People might just like to chill and not have to actually listen to me ramble on about what I'm doing. Maybe not, I don't know. You tell me. Yeah, Duraluminium is an amazing paint. So just get it all over these bits here. So some of these sections we're going to go over with one of the Games Workshop contrast paints, Skeleton Horde. I think it's Skeleton Horde. Yep, Skeleton Horde. And that'll make it look, turn all this like silver metallic into gold, like magic. But because we've already used Null oil over it, it'll be like pre-shaded. So you can just slap it on, and it'll automatically be shaded down to, you know, where we want it to be. Really. I'm just going to slap this on here. Doesn't really matter if you get it all over the like the corset and the robes, because we're going to paint over those in a minute anyway. But we can catch all the other metallic parts. So as I said, we're just going to bring it, like trying to bring it away from like the shiniest parts of where we want the shoulders to be. Again, we're going to paint over these like icons on the shoulder, so it doesn't matter if we get it on there, but like pulling it away from the top edge down to the bottom edge, just to try and create that natural highlight. Oh, good. I'm glad you did get it. It's yeah, it's. I think I need to get another bottle. I'm getting pretty low on it. I use it on my Custodies as well. That's like the base coat for those. I don't bother with the Zenithal sort of thing with the Custodies, because I go over the whole of the Custodies with the contrast paint, so it kind of automatically does that for me. Where else do we need? Probably all of this blade. Actually, the whole halberd we're gonna coat. I'm just using this is like a slightly beat up Rosemary & Co brush. So one of their Series 33 size zeros that I've had for a while, so it's not really got a point anymore. It's just a bit, you know, it's good for a wash brush. Let's put it that way. What have you all been painting recently? Have any of you bought the new Dominion box? Because I've got that on the way this weekend. Well, it should be arriving this weekend, I hope. And then, yeah, looking forward to that. Have you actually been painting your Death Guard? I'll find out if you haven't. Yeah, your Celestian's looking really, really good. So I think that's all the metallics done on the main sister body. Just do these little like elbow patches here. Oh, I think Florence has finished her chew. Okay, so that's the main body, I believe. All done. Yep. Put that to one side. The shield, I'm just going to sort of wash the whole thing, but again, just bring it away from like this top edge here. So start there and bring it down. There we go. The inside, obviously, this isn't going to matter too much because most of the inside isn't on show once the model's put back together. All I've done here as well is I've got a piece of sprue, put it into a point, and then just superglued that point onto the inside of the model. Like, I find that the easiest way of sort of doing sub-assemblies, just with pieces of sprue. Cool. So whilst the null oil all dries, we might as well start on the base. So what we do for the base, those to one side, we're going to use, what should we start with? I think it's, dried bark, chucking it everywhere. This is sort of like, it's like a nice muddy grey brown. So we're going to start with that. Then we're going to go into the bricks. We're just going to dry brush those with a few paints. Then once we've done that, do the metallics and give those a wash. So we're going to use just like, I'm actually going to use this one. It's a Citadel large base brush, but it's just like, it's quite a good little sort of dry brush for just dabbing like really roughly onto here. Obviously you need a piece of tissue. Get some of that out of the pot. I'm just going to dab it all over the mud, all over the bricks. These bricks are actually like scale hobby bricks, so they I think they're meant for like like scale model railways or something like that. I don't know when I'm going to start Dominion because I've still got a bunch of sisters to do. I've got like a whole squad of these Celestian, what are they called? Sacresants. My mind went blank then. I've got a whole squad of those to do, and I've still got more than Val, so I might start at the weekend. If not, it'll be the next thing on my list of things to do, I think, alongside doing the White Scars and Nighthorn that I've been doing recently. Really enjoy the Nighthorn. They're just really fun models to paint, and you can paint them really, really quickly. Most of it's like airbrush and like a few metallics with like oil or enamel washes, so really quick and easy, pretty low effort. Put that brush to one side, and now this is one of the Citadel, the new STC brushes, the dry brush one. These are all like the synthetic brushes. They're pretty cheap, and they do like they're like brilliant bright white when you first get them, like an Apple product. But obviously they do discolour pretty quickly with when you actually start putting paint onto them. Oh yeah, so well, Sylvaneth are really, really good. They're really, really nice models, and I think there's not really. I mean, yeah, I suppose you can do a lot with the Nighthorn, different like colours and stuff. But at the end of the day, they are just ghosts. Where I think there's more freedom with the Sylvaneth to do things like you could do it in like all swampy, or you could do it in like a nice vibrant forest, or all sorts really. So this is Scaven Blight Dinge, and we're just gonna get that on the bricks. Almost like kind of dry brushing, kind of just dabbing it onto the bricks as like a base coat over the top of that dry bark. Yeah, I can never remember the name of that paint. So we can still see some of the dried bark through, but it just gives us like a coat over it. Starts distinguishing the bricks from the rest of the base. And then next up, Mechanica Standard Grey. Oh yeah, that'd be really nice. That's what I kind of mean. Like, you can do a lot of different things with them, all with the same models, just by the way you paint them, the colours you choose to put in them. And again, yeah, just going to be dry brushing this over the bricks. So you can see the bricks are standing out a bit more now from the rest of the base. I don't know what Florence is doing behind me, but she's I think she's having a good time. Last paint we're going to use on this is Celestial Grey, and this we're going to be a bit more light with it. This paint is all goopy. I need to replace it now. Yeah, I've had this. I think this was one of the first paints I started using, and yeah, I think it's past it now. Get most of that off. And we're just going to try and catch just the edges of the bricks to sort of give them a bit of definition. And it's going to look really bright at the moment, but then the last stage where we use the ink over the top as the as like the shading, that'll really dull them down, but it'll give the ink something to make pop, so the base doesn't just look bland and flat and all the same colour. So yeah, that's the main part of the bricks. Florence just wants to go out, so I'm just going to open the door. I can't reach the door from my chair. And I am back. So that's most of the base done. The last thing we're going to do on the base is just paint the metal sections. I kind of just like make something up with the different bits that I've got left over. So I'm pretty sure this like metal bit, well, this bit here with the cables coming out of it is from I want to say it's from an Aggressor's kit. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's from an Aggressor's kit. I've no idea where this little chunk's from. Could be anything, that. Who knows? But it looks cool. Some kind of like ruined machine or something. Nice plug for I can't get the words out. Redgrass Games. Their wet palette. Best in the business. If James isn't watching this stream, then I take all that back. You best be watching it. Or at least he'll best hear about it anyway. They've got a new wet palette coming out soon, actually, which I pre-ordered on the Kickstarter, which looks really cool. It's got like a reusable membrane, so like this parchment part where you put the paints onto, it's reusable on the new one, so you can just wash it off, and it lasts longer. Which will be interesting to see how it is. Like I've seen a lot of painters get them as like previews, and they seem to all really like it. So it sounds like it's a good product, and looking forward to giving that a try. So I've just put duraluminum straight onto the wet palette. Some people say you shouldn't put like metallic paints onto a wet palette, but life's too short not to, so whatever. And you just use this brush, and it's like these paints are really liquid, so you do kind of have to be a little bit careful with them. Yeah, I think I've put that on a little bit too thin. I'll just slap it on and then do another coat in a minute. They do cover really well, but because they're quite liquid, they do flow over parts and maybe like drip off, which is not ideal. But yeah, I don't really know. Like people say that you shouldn't use metallics on a wet palette because it can like the metallic flakes can like seep through the parchment paper into the sponge underneath, and then that can contaminate all your other paints that you put on there. But that doesn't really seem. I don't think that seems possible, to be honest, because surely like the actual like paint pigments are smaller than the metallic flakes. So if that was going to happen, surely like paint pigments would seep through, which it looks like they have on mine, but that's not. That's me just being sloppy and get them over the side. So yeah, I don't know. I use them anyway. I don't have any problems, or I don't seem to have any problems. If all my models look metallic, then I suppose that might be why. So yeah, I've just painted up that metal on there, nice and shiny. It's a bit sloppy, but it's a ruin, so kind of gonna be. I'm going to wait for that to dry, and then we're going to give that an oil wash as well, just the metallic section. But by now, the Null Oil on our sister should be mostly dry. Let's have a look. It's still a little bit damp in some areas, but we can get on to the next stage. So what I like to do now is paint up all the like the black cloth areas, and literally we're just going to paint those in straight up black with Vallejo model colour black. You can use any black, doesn't really matter. It's just that I've got this one to hand, so yeah, that's what we're going to use. Use my big mixing brush. It's really stupid, but one thing I always hate is that when you put paint on a palette and you use your mixing brush and mix it in, then you got a load of paint stuck in the brush, and probably shouldn't do it, but I just like to then just slap it on, because I hate it's like, it's stupid because it's not really wasting paint. You know, it's not really that. There's always paint left on the palette, so it's not really like you know, you're gonna run out. But yeah, I just think it's funny, and it does cover up pretty quickly, so it doesn't really matter. And then switch over to an actual better brush now for painting the important bits. So now I've got a Series 33 size 2/0 or 00. It's the same thing, but different brush companies call them different things. Yeah, and then we're just gonna paint in these little nooks and crannies. Actually, I'm going to put a little bit more water, tiny bit more water in there. Seems a little bit goopy, which is not what we want. Yeah, I definitely need to get some stream music. I'm pretty sure Twitch now have their own selection of like streaming music that you can use. So I'm planning on hopefully streaming every Tuesday and every Thursday. So hopefully for this Thursday I'll have figured that out. You can see there where the normal is still a bit damp in the corner. Yeah, hopefully by Thursday I'll have figured it out, and then we can have some actual music on the stream, which would be nice. Some chill beats. Some lo-fi hip-hop, maybe. Pretty good to paint to. Normally I paint with like an audiobook on, but I'm pretty sure that's not allowed. I might get a cease and desist for doing that, so probably not a good idea. I can't believe we're half an hour into the stream already. Just waffling and painting slowly. These sisters, the new models, well, all the whole sisters range that they've done recently, they're so good. So like the sculpts are amazing, and you get so many options with them. It's really nice. But they are quite thin and fiddly. Like, I'm very, very worried that I'm going to snap these halberds off at some point. I'm almost 100% certain it's going to happen. The Imagifier model, which is the one where it's got like the big banner, like I have snapped that so many times. And because they're really thin as well, it's like, I think it'd be really hard to actually put like a brass rod in there, which is what a lot of people do with like thin spears and stuff. trying to drill through the hand without breaking it, I think could just be really, really, really tricky. This is just all the like black cloth or sort of black. I suppose it's like some of it's like black leather, like the corset. Just painting all that up. And then when we for the cloak, when we get like before we do the last stage where we do the green underglow, I usually put some pigment on there. I use the Rival Crafts. I think it's dark umber they call it, or dark cypress umber, something like that. I'll have a look in a sec. And that one is really nice for just adding some extra detail to the cloak. Like, just makes it a little bit dusty and a little bit, more interesting than just plain black. And then when you put the underglow on it afterwards, it just catches that a bit better. Gives it a bit of texture. It just makes it stand out a bit more from just being plain black. Well, you can kind of see it on the one I did yesterday, like on the rear of it. You can kind of see like the pigment, and then when where the glow hits it. I think it helps as well that ink tends to have like a slightly glossy effect to it, which means that it catches the light better and makes it just stand out a bit more than just flat matte black. And because you're spraying it only at an angle, only certain parts of it get glossy, which seems to work well. So for this, we do the back skirt in black, the corset in black, the sleeves, like the inner sleeves in black. I think that's all the black on it. Quite a lot of black, anyway. They look quite monochrome. It's almost like a bit like 300, like the film 300, where you've got like it's all black and then there's just like splashes of colour. I think they end up looking a little bit like that, which wasn't really the intention, but it seems quite effective, so I can't complain. I'm not going to complain. Not 300, I'm thinking of the wrong film. Sin City. A bit like Sin City. Okay. I think it's going to take me a while to get used to like my painting position whilst being on stream. Especially for like the finer details. Not too bad for airbrushing because you can kind of sit back away from that anyway. But for stuff like this, trying to remember to get it in focus and so I can still actually see what I'm doing. Thanks, mate. How are you doing? How you doing? Damn, Daniel. Damn, Daniel. I should get that as a drop. How do we get drops on Twitch? Someone hit me up with how I do it. That's going to be a pain. Got to get in that little crack there. That's going to be it. Right, little B. Oh, it's not too bad. Yeah, this is definitely like the most unorthodox painting position that I think I've ever done it. Like, I've got my hands on my knees. My elbows on my knees. My feet are on my chair legs. And I'm like hunched over. This is definitely not like a good posture for streaming. Oh, thanks, man. I'm glad. Yeah, I've not I don't think. Yeah, I've had 0 frame drops, which is pretty crazy, really. And the new camera is just awesome. Just seems to pick every little detail up really, really well. And the autofocus on it is pretty good as well. Shiny, shiny metal. Yeah, so I just need to do the inside of the cloak down here, and then these little sleeves. I'm hoping we can get all the main colours down in this stream, and then I could finish her off on Thursday, for Thursday's stream. That'd be quite good. It's usually, well, I'm usually a little bit quicker than this, but nattering away, isn't it? It just takes up too much time. It's not exactly the most interesting part of the painting process, because it's just metallic and black at the moment. Not really any details to see. I'll do the gold next. That'll look quite nice. You see the magic of contrast paints over metallics and the things you can do with them. Yeah, you can use the one I'm going to use is Skeleton Horde, which turns it gold, like a nice gold colour. But there's other ones you can use as well. So there's I'm trying to think of its name now. Fire Slayer Flash makes it like a nice bronze colour. Or if you just want like coloured metals, you can do that. So you can make like a blue metal or whatever colour really. You just pick a contrast paint and paint it over like pre-shaded metallics, and that's it. Instant coloured metal. I think for I suggested to Daniel Lioneye before he's painting some Thousand Suns, and I said to him that a really probably quick way of painting up the basic troops is to spray them all gold, and then just paint over the blue sections on the model, or red if you wanted to do like pre-heresy ones, with contrast paint, because you've already got the metallic there, so you can end up with like a nice metallic metal finish on those sections, because everyone hates painting up the trim on Thousand Suns. So if you spray it gold first, it should, in theory, make it a little bit quicker, or a little bit more bearable anyway. I don't think he's tried it yet though, so I have to see how he gets on. Cool. So last little bits, just need to do the inside of the cloak here underneath. One of the most annoying areas to paint on any model. You can't really show it on stream either, because I can barely get to it with the paintbrush anyway, so getting it on camera, definitely not going to happen. There you go. Non-metallic metal, not a chance. No chance. I'll show you bronze and non-metallic metal someday. I've got a layer to do, but I might practice the recipe first before I do it on stream. I haven't tried the recipe yet. Oh, this big white blob is blue tap, by the way, just in case you're wondering. I'm sure you could use something else for it, but I just find it useful because I can just, whack it down on the table when I'm taking a break. Nearly there with the black. I think the black section is like the single most time consuming because there's just so much area of it. Okay. Yeah, it's it might speed things up because I'd imagine the painting blue bit is just an absolute nightmare. Have you made any progress on Bellicor yet, Daniel Lioni? Fair enough. Yeah, that's a big model. Right, yeah, I'm gonna call the black done there, and then we're gonna paint some gold. Yeah, because you wanted to do it as a demon prince, didn't you? So like, use it as a stand-in for a demon prince. Is that right? Like a really bloody big demon prince. So we've just got skeleton horde here, and straight out of the pot. And on these models, the parts that I do gold are, as you can see here, there's the shield, that's in gold, maybe some trinkets, some little icons, this like spiky bit on the back. Yeah, those are the main parts I pick out in gold. And literally, it's just a case of using the skeleton horde straight out of the pot and just going over those areas. And then when we do the green underglow, that really picks them out and makes them look nice and gold. Oh yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, because it's supposed to be nice if you're using it in your Thousand Suns army to have it like not matching Magnus, but at least looking a little bit similar to Magnus, I suppose. Oops, just knock the camera. So do this little bit here. You can already see like it really pops because the rest of the model is so like sort of plain. I think that's why the red works really well on these models because it stands out so much. On the back we'll just do that icon on the backpack. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I think that model is such a big standout model that it will it'll hold its own in whatever colour scheme you decide to use, but it will be cool to tie it in with the rest of the army. It's just a very, very cool model. Looking forward to seeing you paint it. Yeah, so we just slap the this contrast paint on, and it literally just turns the silver metallic into gold. Alchemy. Yeah, well that is that's always the tricky part with models. You can buy the model; they're usually pretty easy to build, but the actual, you can have a really good idea for like a paint scheme, but the actual painting bit, there's no shortcut on that. It's just got to be done. Well, I mean, I suppose there is a shortcut. You could always, contact like a commission painter or something like that. But then it's not really an achievement for you, is it? Still cool to have a model like that done for you, but it's I think it's not really the reason why a lot of people get into the hobby. They want to be able to say, I've done that. Yeah, just dip it in normal, that'll do. Why not? I'm going to pick out these little things on a tunic as well. Tunic, that's the word I was looking for earlier. In gold. Cool. And then the shield, the whole shield, we're going to do that in gold. So I'm just going to use a bigger brush. And a little tip for using contrast paints is to wet your brush first, because if it's a dry brush and you dip it straight into contrast paints, the first thing that happens is the contrast paint just soaks into it. Whereas if you wet it first, it doesn't seem to happen as much, and you can just control it a little bit better. So do similar to what we did with the normal oil. So we start at the top and then just like brush it downwards, so that you end up with, it's a bit like glazing, where the brush ends up is where the most paint will end up. So you want it to be obviously a little bit darker at the bottom. So just keep brushing it down. This is also a good way of making sure you don't get any streaks. Like, just keep brushing it, because you get lots of little streaks then, but it kind of looks like almost like polished. Which doesn't look as bad as just like, one or two big streaks. Cool. Nice shiny gold shield. So this is Skeleton Horde over a metallic base, which I've pre-shaded. So the metallic base is jet exhaust, then zenithal with duraluminum, then coated with null oil. And the null oil I did similar to how I've just done the Skeleton Horde, where brushing from the top down to the bottom, so where going from the lightest area to the darkest area, so that it creates that like nice gradient effect from where the light hits it. The inside, it doesn't matter as much on this one because it's going to be like tightly packed against the body once it's back on the model. So the inside we can kind of just slap it on a little bit. Still going to do sort of similar thing, like brush it downwards, but I'm not going to, spend ages doing that, because it's not going to matter, because no one's going to be able to see it really unless you look really closely. And this scheme, it's not really like it's just like it's an army painting scheme really. Like, it's not the I'd say it's like high-ish quality, but it's not high quality. I don't know how to describe it. You know what I mean though. Cool. So that's all the gold done. Next up, we are going to use corn red, and just going to get that on the palette, and this is going to go onto the eye sockets and the front of her tunic and her gloves. Yeah, that's all the places for corn red. I think this is like the best red colour. It's just really nice, and it's like really good as a. Well, it's just a really nice red, really. It's good as a base colour. If you mix a little bit of black into it, it's great as like a shading colour too. Again, you just can use my big fat mixing brush and slap it on there. Don't want to waste that paint. Don't do this. Use your proper brush. It'll bite me in the bum doing that. I'll end up with paint where I shouldn't. Back to a proper brush. This is the I'll probably use a bigger brush, but this is the Rosemary Co 00, and just paint in that like front part of the tunic. Oh, a little bit off there. Damn. One of the good things with the like underglow effect is that it does kind of cover up quite a lot of mistakes at the end, which is quite nice. So if you do make one or two little mistakes here or there, it's not the end of the world. It's a really good sort of technique for army painting, effectively, or like speed painting, I suppose. One of the things that it does really well is because you spray with like a slightly darker colour from underneath the model, so you're going to automatically hit all the like shaded areas. So you're going to create like instant shadows on the model, which is great because they are something that take a long time to do normally. Because normally, if you're making shadows, you would probably, depending on what technique you use, and you're either glazing into the shadow with like a dark mix of your base colour, which takes ages, or you are going to be applying your base colour, then doing a wash, and then applying your base colour again over the top, where to re-highlight back up, which takes time. But doing it this way, you're just going to automatically hit all the shadows without having to do too much. You're just going to finish the model off and tie it all together at the same time. It creates like a nice atmosphere. Now the model's starting to look a little bit more interesting. Now it's actually got some colour on it. Just got those gloves. It gets so hot in this room, and the wet palette does a lot of work keeping the paints usable. I don't understand how people in really, really hot countries, I suppose they've got air conditioning, I suppose, but still, if you didn't have air conditioning and you're in a hot country, you'd just have to have like an ice pack under your wet palette just to keep it all cool. So I think, what time are we on? Okay, I think what we'll probably get done is we'll get the reds done. Probably start on the shoulder pads, and then that'll probably be it. That'll probably be it for tonight's stream. And then on Thursday we can come back and finish the rest of the model. Which, to be fair, that probably shouldn't take too long. The main parts left after this part will be the shoulder pads, like the underglow, putting on pigments before the underglow, doing some little bits to the base, maybe picking some bits out with like duraluminum again, just to like highlight some of the shiniest metal bits that we want to highlight. Eye lenses, that takes a little bit of time. Could do those. That's about it really. Yeah, so we're quite close. There's just like, I think with most modules, the first few stages, sort of, you cover a large area in like a short amount of time, or a relatively short amount of time, and then as the stages go further and further on, you start working on smaller and smaller and more detailed areas, and each step takes longer and longer to do for a smaller area. That's generally the way it goes, isn't it? And then you just blast it all at the end with some ink and finish it off. I think my corn red is still a little bit left. It should be enough just for these bits. Okay, cool. Oh, nope, that trim that, or rim right there of the glove rather. Okay, now onto the eyes. Let's see if I can paint eye sockets on stream in a hot room without getting everywhere. Oh, I think I'm doing it. I think I'm doing it. And Florence is back in the room too. Cool. That's one eye socket done. Breathe. Breathe. Okay. Eye socket number 2. We can do this. Come on. Going cross-eyed. Trying to make her look... Oh, we just went over a tiny bit. Oh, I don't know if you can see it on camera actually. Just in the corner of the eye there. Oh well, let's just tidy that up in a sec. Oh, that's not too bad. Okay. So, last little bit I'm going to do tonight is I'm just going to pick out some little bits in silver that I just want to make really shiny. Really shiny. And I can tidy up. Okay, yeah, I should be able to just tidy that up. Tiny bit of the eye up there. Might not even show on camera. I don't know how high resolution the camera is on stream, but I know it's there, so I don't want it showing. I'll just pick out these little rivets here as well. Buttons? I don't know what they are. Buttons, I suppose, I think. Like holding a tunic together. I'll actually show you on camera what I'm doing rather than just having it off camera as well. Cool. Okay, I think... Oh, and Florence is barking. So, I think that's as good a time as any to call the stream to a close for today. That's as far as we've got. So, we've got most of the base colours down. We got most of the base colours down. On Thursday, I'll be back same time, and we'll be doing the shoulder pads, we'll be doing the underglow, playing around with some pigments, picking out some more details, finishing up the eye lenses with some actual proper eye lenses rather than just red. And yeah, just finishing the model off. Thanks very much for watching the stream, guys. I'll post a picture of how far we've got onto my Instagram later on. If you don't follow me on Instagram, please go and have a look. It's at Spens Painting, and you can find me on Twitter as well at the same. Yeah, thanks very much for coming along, guys, and hopefully see you on Thursday. See you later.